I was going to talk about the Redskins changing their name today, or whatever it's going to be, but instead I saw the Madden 21 ratings yesterday, and of course, as every Madden football fan is, annoyed. I don't mean to use Derrick Henry as an example, but I mean to use Derrick Henry as an example. McCaffrey's a 99, I understand that, okay? Derrick Henry put up career numbers last year, led the league in a lot of categories, and he's a 93 overall for what reason? Could he at least be like a 96 or 97? We're going to go over the top. And Deshaun Watson's an 86. I don't know what league those ratings people were watching. Wasn't the NFL. We're going to talk about the top 10 ratings for quarterbacks and running backs exclusively in this video about Madden 21. Obviously, they get adjusted throughout the season, and definitely they will be. We're going to talk about that, the Madden 21 ratings of the top 10, what I think went right, what I think went wrong. Like, subscribe, stay right here. Now, for any of you that ever have played Madden, you know a couple of things. One, the game tends to get you very angry. The game is not always accurate. And one of the things that they do right and wrong is the ratings. I don't know if everybody yesterday was released, but yesterday we were given the ratings ahead of time a couple of weeks before the game releases for Madden 21. And one of the things I will say is that there are some on here that just do not make any sense. We are going to strictly go over running backs and quarterbacks in the top 9 aspect of it. And we're going to go over the rating, what I kind of think about it, and so on and so forth. So we're going to start with running backs. Number 9 is Alvin Kamara, has an 88 overall. I do agree with that. It says here he took a slight dip from last season where he went from 90. He had fewer rushing yards, touchdown, and receiving yards. He caught 81 passes for the first time in the season. Alvin Kamara is a good running back. Should he be in the 90s? Not quite. But he's definitely a running back that I would probably have on my team had I been in a situation where I didn't have a running back. So Alvin Kamara's an 88. Also tied with him at number 9 is Josh Jacobs. For any of you that know, Josh Jacobs really made an impression last year, especially for the Oakland Raiders, now to be called the Las Vegas Raiders. He's an 88 overall. I do agree with that. Josh Jacobs was silently one of the top running backs last year, especially for a rookie. He started last season and was the 3rd best Raiders running back now in Madden. He's tied 9th for all backs in the game after a 1,000-plus season and 7 touchdowns in his very first season. One thing I can tell you about Josh Jacobs is that his ceiling limit feels like it's limitless, and if you get something like that out of his rookie year, the only thing that could hurt worse is a sophomore slump. Joe Mixon, one of the bright spots of the Cincinnati Bengals last year was their run game with Joe Mixon. He's one of the few running backs to remain in top 10 from last year. Just a side reminder, this is from ESPN.com, giving you the ratings and some of a description here. He moves from 10 to 7 while jumping up. That makes sense because he stayed the same from 18 to 19, 1,000 plus yards, 287 yards receiving. Joe Mixon is an 89 overall, fair enough. Joe Mixon is a good running back. And like I said, he's one of the bright spots of a Cincinnati Bengals team that didn't really have too much to offer last year. Their defense was terrible. Andy Dalton struggled. A.J. Green was not really on the field. So, 89 overall. Number 7 is Aaron Jones. Well-deserved. We are now hitting the 90 overall mark for Aaron Jones at number 7. Even more than Henry, Jones made a massive leap, going from tied 26 last season with Breida, McCannon, Eckler, and Mack, and McCoy, to running back number 6, an 8-point jump. He went from an 82 last year to a 90 this year. Like Cook, he had a largest workload this year. He rushed for over 1,000 and was tied with Henry for the rushing touchdown lead. 90 overall for Aaron Jones, well-deserved. Can't really say too much. Aaron Jones did a lot for the Packers last season. Second half of his season may not have been as explosive as the first half, but he was towards the top tier of running backs, particularly in the first half of the season. Number 5 is where it gets a little bit tricky because we're starting to get to the running backs that are really starting to be called elite. Now, Saquon Barkley was given a 91, and for the people complaining, I don't really understand why. He didn't play a full season. He struggled a little bit when he came back. Do I think Saquon has potential to be the best running back in football? No question about it. In Madden 21 or throughout the year, do I think his overall is going to go up? Yes, I do. He is a 91 overall. His numbers fell from his rookie year. Some of that was due to him missing 3 games. His ratings remain the same. He did average fewer yards per attempt and yards per game. But he could move up quickly if the Giants' offense is better than last year. I do think the Giants' offense will be better, particularly if Saquon stays healthy and Daniel Jones works on holding on to the football. I do think that Saquon will see a nice ratings jump throughout the season at number 5. Also tied with him is Dalvin Cook. I think, to be honest, we're starting to get to a point where some of these running backs should be given a little bit higher of a rating. Number 4 or number 5 still is Dalvin Cook. He has a 91 overall. I think Dalvin Cook should be a little bit higher. He literally was one of the best running backs in the league last year, and the guy that they put ahead of him, I think he actually had a better season then. Dalvin Cook was tied at 16 at running back a year ago at 85 overall. His health combined with his first 1,000-yard season, 13 touchdowns, vaulted him to 5th overall this year. Like Henry and Elliott, his workload should mean he'll ascend in the game for the next couple of seasons. I do see Dalvin Cook's overall going up. It is marked at a 91 here. Should be a little bit higher. But when you see how screwy this list gets as it gets to the end of it, you will kind of understand where I'm coming from. Dalvin Cook is a 91 overall. Number 3 is Ezekiel Elliot. I disagree with this. Ezekiel Elliott's a great running back, but he's a 92 overall. He dipped a little bit from last year. He was running back 2 in last year's game with a 94 overall. This might have been more to do with the ascension of Chubb, Henry, and McCaffrey than his own play. He did have 1,300 yards and 12 touchdowns. I think Elliott had a great season, but not a typical Ezekiel Elliott season. You know, the running backs is the jump here is Elliott. I'm okay with him being a 92. What I'm not okay with is the next one. Number 3 as well. Also tied is Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb has to be up here. Didn't really get the recognition sometimes he deserves. A huge rise. He went from 16th ranked to number 3. And he went from an 85 to a 92 overall. He's ascending running back. He had a monstrous near 1,500 yards with 8 touchdowns last year. 92 overall for Nick Chubb, well deserved. Number 2, those of you that know me know I'm a diehard Titans fan, and this was insanely wrong. Derrick Henry is a 93 overall running back. I'm not mad that Derrick Henry is not a 99 overall running back. I'm mad that he's so far from Christian McCaffrey. Henry wasn't even the highest rated running back on his own team last year, but Henry made a 10-point jump from 83 to 93 and from 22 ranked to 2. This happened due to 303 carries, a monstrous 1,500 plus yards, and 16 rushing touchdown season. He was leading the NFL in all those categories, and he didn't even break the 95 mark. Why is Derrick Henry a 93? Shouldn't he be like a 96 or a 97? Will Derrick Henry's overall go up throughout the year? I do think so. Number 1, without a doubt, is Christian McCaffrey. McCaffrey is part of the 99 club. The first running back to earn a 99 rating since cover AP in Madden 25. McCaffrey earned it with a monstrous 1,300 yards, 15 touchdowns, also caught 116 passes and 1,005 yards receiving. He made an 8-point ratings jump and moved from tied 5th to the 1st among running backs. When you really look at it, I don't mind Christian McCaffrey being a 99. What bothers me about this is Derrick Henry. I think that he should be closer to McCaffrey. I think he should be at least a 96. Doesn't have to be a 99, because I think Henry in the first half of the season did decent, but the second half he really amped it up. And that's kind of where I go from there. McCaffrey's the highest rated running back. Fair enough. Something that they absolutely kind of screwed up this year is quarterbacks. Let's talk about quarterbacks. We're going to talk about some quarterbacks that didn't make the top 10 list. Andrew Luck retired, obviously. Ben Roethlisberger. I don't know. Cam Newton didn't really play. Phillip Rivers, I think he should be on this list. Number 9 is Carson Wentz at 84 overall. He made a 2-point jump from last year's game. He played, rankings to number 10 after playing 16 games. He played a full season, threw for over 4,000 yards. I think Wentz's overall should be a little bit higher. I don't know how much higher. An 84 is kind of, you know what I mean? I definitely think it will jump throughout the season. Tied with him, though, is Dak Prescott, 84. His contract discussions won't affect his play in Madden. His on-the-field performance saw him take a 3-point jump from last year. Prescott threw for 30 touchdowns, a fantastic 4,900 yards, and over 1,000 yards better from the previous year. Like Watson, he'll figure to continue to move up the QB rankings in the years to come. Dak Prescott is gifted with one of the best receiving cores in football, and that's part of the reason why I believe that he is an 84, but I think that he could be a little bit higher as well. Number 8 is absolutely despicable. Absolutely despicable. Deshaun Watson is an 86 overall. Now, I don't know what part of Madden where Deshaun Watson doesn't crack 90, or at least 89. After his second Pro Bowl appearance, he jumped 4 ratings even though he had a lower completion percentage, fewer yards and more interceptions, but Watson is clearly an ascending player and his ratings reflect that. No, it doesn't. Deshaun Watson should be at least a 90 overall. Maybe not 90. Okay, let's say 89, 88. Number 7 is Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan is a great quarterback, but, the Falcons are not making the playoffs. They're not winning. Whether that's their defense or not, you can tell me. Ryan dropped 2 rating points and moved up from one spot from last year, 89 or 87 overall, after a season where he had the highest interception totals. How Matt Ryan got a higher QB overall than Deshaun Watson in this year's Madden, it's beyond me. But don't worry, the list gets more screwed as it goes up. Aaron Rodgers, 89 overall. You're telling me Aaron Rodgers is not a 90-plus overall quarterback? Okay. 2 years ago, Rodgers was a 99. Last season, he started the year as a 90. Now, for the first time in over a decade, Rodgers will start a season below at 90, 89 where he ended last season. His completion percentage dropped, and he hasn't thrown for 30 touchdowns in a season since 2016. I actually did not know that. He still moved up a spot in the overall, and due to the decline of Phillip Rivers and the retirement of Andrew Luck. Aaron Rodgers should be a 90. He doesn't have to be higher than a 90, but give the guy a 90, please. Number 5, Tom Brady. You knew Tom Brady was coming at some point, right? 90 overall. Tom Brady is still a good quarterback. Is he the quarterback he once was? I don't know. How much does Tom Brady's skill get acquainted for this year if he puts up monstrous numbers with that offense? Tom Brady's a 90 overall, 20 years after appearing as number 12 in Madden, as QB number 12 in Madden. It'll be a first time as he goes to a new team. Brady has seen an overall rating drop from a 96 last year to a 90. Holy shit, I didn't know that. The worst starting rating since the early 2000s. It makes sense, though. He had one of his worst statistical 16-game seasons, 4,000 yards, 24 touchdowns, 60 completion percentage in a decade. This could be a rating that jumps up quickly, though, considering the offensive options. Tom Brady's overall will definitely, I don't know if it will skyrocket, but it's definitely going up in this year's Madden. Number 4 should be much higher. Even despite missing 5 games, Drew Brees has a 93 overall. Drew Brees should be a little bit higher. But when I look at the top 3 list, I kind of understand it. But Drew Brees should be a little bit higher. Showing age has no bearing on the start of the game. Brees actually improved 1 point from where he started last season as a 92. One of the most accurate passers ever. Brees completed 70% or more of his throws in 4 straight seasons in 2019. Drew Brees should be much higher. I get it. You know, the Saints are being favored consistently about making the Super Bowl each and every season. And you know what? They've just been unlucky. You know, that the game against the Rams, they were absolutely robbed. Last year, the unluckiness of what the Vikings were able to do in overtime was it overtime? I forgot, overtime or the end of the 4th. Regardless, it's like, damn, you know what I mean? So I understand it. Number 3, here comes the big boys. Lamar Jackson, 94. Wow. The things that Lamar Jackson did last year, and he's only a 94. I'm not saying he should be a 99, but can he crack 96? Jackson, last year's Madden cover athlete, took a massive jump from the start of last season. Before last season, he was a 76 overall, and he went his way to a 94. He's the number 3 QB in a game after an MVP season in 2019. The question will be whether Madden developers make him too good, as Michael Vick in Madden 04 caused him to theoretically break the game. I've never been one of those people that have been good in Madden, particularly on defense against running quarterbacks, which is why when I play Madden and someone uses the Ravens, I blitz every single play. Number 2, after probably the best season of his career and playing at an astronomical level, Russell Wilson is a 97 overall, absolutely well-deserved. He played at an MVP level last year and could have maybe won the award had Lamar Jackson not had a transcendent season. Wilson threw for over 4,000, 30-plus touchdowns, jumping him from a 91 to 97. Absolutely deserved. And without further ado, did you have any question about who number 1 was going to be? Patrick Mahomes is a 99 overall. There's absolutely no debate about this. He was just gifted a $500 million contract, a 10-year extension, very risky maneuver. But for the all honest opinion, Mahomes is the first quarterback not named Brees, Brady, or Rodgers to earn a 99 overall. Last year's cover athlete and the highest rated quarterback, Mahomes threw for an average 287 yards per game and led the Chiefs to a Super Bowl win in his 2nd season. You know, the top 3 quarterbacks, I don't really mind. You know, the bottom of the list, Wentz and Prescott need to be up a little bit. Jackson should be up a little bit. 95 maybe. Wilson, 1 and 2 is without debate. Definitely Wilson being at 2 with a 97 overall. And Mahomes at 1 was inevitable. This is really all I got today. I kind of just wanted to talk about who didn't make the list. And I didn't talk about it for running backs, but Todd Gurley, Melvin Gordon, Le'Veon Bell, Kareem Hunt, and Devontae Freeman, all top running backs prior to a year, did not make the season. Devontae Freeman had an off season. Kareem Hunt barely played. Le'Veon had his worst season, or one of the worst running back seasons I've ever seen. Melvin Gordon complained, but you know what? I think that he's a little overrated sometimes. And Todd Gurley will look for a huge bounce back this season on the Atlanta Falcons. Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you watching as always. These are my thoughts and opinions. You can drop in the comment section below what it is that you think about the Madden 21 ratings.